Welcome to the Christian Contractor Podcast.
Christian Contractor Podcast.
A show created for kingdom-driven Christian contractors that are focused on scaling their business in God's name while positively impacting the world around them. If you're ready to ascend from a contractor to a purpose-driven business owner, we're here to serve you. Here's your host, Brandon Guthrie.
What's up, guys? This is Brandon Guthrie with Dream Design Labs on the Christian Contractor Podcast, and I got Trevor Gosar of auto-leasing here with me today. Super pumped, super excited to have you.
Dude, I'm excited to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Super excited about, what auto-leasing is doing amazing things, making amazing headway, and just with what Odin is doing as far as like results, but not only results, like the positive impact that you guys are having on the world, but in the culture, the way that you carry yourself with honor, integrity, respect, and like you can see right here behind me,
this is it.
Like this is how they roll. And I was telling this to Rex, like a lot of people do a lot of this, they don't do a lot of this.
I would agree.
They don't walk the walk, they do a lot of talking the talk. So I really am honored to be able to be even a small part of your guys' journey, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going to go. I know Rex and you and everyone on the team has a big vision, and not just for the sake of making money, but for the sake of doing things better so people can live better lives. I was telling Rex like the concept of, we were looking at a brand guide and that of not a competitor, another industry, and it said like protect your kingdom. I really like that. Not that we're gonna use, not that you guys are gonna change your tagline or anything, but the concept that he was so excited about that concept, and it opened his eyes, and I could tell like you just now responding to that. It says like you guys really want to improve people's lives, and people's home is their kingdom, it is their castle, it is where they find rest in this crazy world. So
Absolutely.
All you're trying to do is get in there and improve the quality of their life. How can you improve that palace that is their home? And you guys are wanting to be a part of that lifestyle, and just so authentic.
Dude, that's interesting, because that's the first time I've ever thought of it that way, and that's a great point. And I'm biased. I work here. This is like my second to Rex. This is my baby, right? Like Odin is something that I put so much time, energy, sweat, tears, attention, stress, like lack of sleep, like all that's been into this. And so I am a little biased, but I can honestly say this is the first time that I have felt so clear about what we're doing. And it's been so fun to see the vision caught by those around us. And so I feel very grateful. I believe we're on a great mission right now, and it's been really fun to be part of.
Yeah, 100%. So for those of you listening in right now and watching, I want to tell them a little bit about your story. Who are you? How'd you get here? And where are you going?
So I'll rewind. I served a church mission for 2 years when I was about 19 years old. And before that, I had done door-to-door sales. And so I had understood sales, but then going out and being in the mission field, talking about Jesus was very different. And so I remember the first door that we ever knocked on our mission. This old rickety house in Atlanta, Georgia, North Georgia, up in the Blue Jay Mountains, or LG Mountains, excuse me. And I just, rickety house, rainy day. And knock on the door, this lady answers, and my companion, he froze. He was so scared to talk to her, he froze. And I just picked up, because I didn't know what to talk about, right? I'd understood how to talk to people, but not about Jesus yet. And I was like, hey, your dog's beautiful. And she's like, no, it's not. And it was this moment of yeah, you're right, he's not beautiful. I just need cut me some slack here. I literally told her that. I was like, cut me some slack here. I don't know what we're doing. We're just knocking on your door, and I want to be your friend. And we got to actually be really good friends with that family for a good 6 months, and still stay in contact with them to this day.
Wow.
And it was so eye-opening to me of whether it's Christ related, the gospel related, or work related, right? Those two things overlap, and the skills you learn in one can apply to the other so clearly. And so that was, I did 2 years of that, came home, tried business to business sales for a little while and learned very quick that was not my bread and butter of being behind a desk, talking to business executives. That just wasn't my enjoyment. And then I had this realization. So my wife and I, we got married, got into the solar industry at that point, and it was like 3 months into it, and they shut down the division that I was in. So they hired me onto this specific division in the company, and I walk in the Friday after our honeymoon, and they're like, "Hey, sorry, you don't have a job anymore. Like starting Monday." I'm like, well, that's not going to work very well. I'm broke. I just spent money on a wedding. Like I don't know what to do. And it was honestly one of the lowest points of my life. Like just hitting this rock bottom of. I was embarrassed to see family because the second they'd ask what I did for work, I'm like, I don't have a job. Like I just married your daughter, but I don't have a job anymore. And so it was pretty embarrassing, and it was the lowest point probably in my life. And they gave me this option. They said, hey, you can either go sell for us, 1099, or you can take on twice the workload for half the pay. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. And I remember going home and talking to my wife, and we prayed, and it was like so clear that we needed to go do 1099 sales. And I had done sales before, so I was like, okay, great, let's do this. Like this is gonna be a blast. And so they gave me the contact of the sales manager, and I remember sitting in her office, and about 15 minutes into this conversation between her and I, and she stops, and she's like, Trevor, this is really awkward. You think you're hired, and I think I'm interviewing you right now, and I don't know what's going on. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm hired. Like the company sent me here to be on your team. And she goes, no. Nobody tells me who's on my team. And I was like, I felt so small. Like it was like I felt so small. And she goes, you're unprofessional. You're not old enough. You don't have the skill set that I'm looking for. And quite frankly, I just don't want you on my team.
Ooh.
And I learned later on the person that shared office space with her, like shared a wall, walked next door after this interview with me and said, remind me to never send somebody to you, because that was the rudest interview I've ever heard. And I just told her, I said, hey, I apologize, but you have no option but to take me. I just got married. Like this is not an option. Like I have to make this work. And so she said, great, if you can sell me, I'll give you appointments. And I was like, cool, I'll go home and I'll work on that. And so from that Monday to the next Monday, went home the second I'd wake up in the morning to the second I'd go to bed, it was practicing in the mirror, practicing on my phone, practicing to my wife, and just learning to sell, right? Like I had no idea what I was doing. And went back the next Monday, and dude, it was one of the, I'll never forget that day. 15 minutes into this sale with her, right? No joke, papers, she throws them up, she's like, oh my goodness, this is the best pitch I've ever heard. I am so sorry. For a week ago, you have a spot on my team. And wow. I was so, dude, it was such a like, because I remember after that, even again after that interview, feeling so small walking out of there, like, you don't have a spot on my team. I remember going home and kneeling down in prayer with my wife, and it was so clear that was the route we were supposed to go, and I was like, God, why on earth are you sending me to this place where they don't want me? Like, this is miserable, right? But honestly, that's been the biggest change in my entire life. She's the one who introduced me to Rex. That was the mutual friend that connected the two of us. And in that moment, the work ethic I put in Monday to Monday, right? It's not to toot my horn, but it's just for me, it taught me what reps can do, right? Like when somebody comes in, what I really can expect out of them. And it's not because I'm expecting it because I just expect them to do a lot. It's no, like I've been there. Like I've been in those shoes before, and I know that type of sacrifice brings a certain result. And so it's been pretty awesome. So one thing led to another. Rex brought me on board, and long story short.
Here you are. Dude.
Wow. Set off in the sunset.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're kind of expect that because you went through it, and that gives you a good pulse on who is and who isn't worthy to be a part of this awesome team. And having you as a filter of who's going to be on the team is a good thing for Odin to have.
Thanks, man.
So, dude, wow, that's an awesome story. So I'm sure there's so many people that can relate to that, very much so, and that will feel inspired by that. So first topic I want to hit on really quick on value for people listening in right now is, dude, Odin is obviously big goals, but already crushing it at $15 million, $20 million, big numbers. I mean, some people listening in right now are just trying to get over their first $1 million in annual gross revenue in a year. Like they're struggling, Or maybe people just even at just that, maybe they did just break that first million and they're trying to scale. For those people, do you have any secret sauce, any advice that you can give to them that can help them? Because I know there's so many aspects of things that can be holding them back. One is mindset, making excuses as to why they can't think bigger or do more. But not only mindset, but like team, hiring, logistics, fulfillment, production, supply chain, like excuse, right? Like, or sales. I mean, so obviously one of the biggest values you can bring right now is sales. So give us, like, out of all of that, because we only have enough time for a little bit right now. Like, out of all those things you just heard, what's the first thing that pops in your head that you could serve someone the most with?
So I'm going to talk sales because you don't want my operations advice. I'm not an operations guy. I'm sales tried and true. That's my blood. But this is so it reminds me of a conversation I was having just yesterday with a rep, and he was sitting in the office with me, and he's like, "Man, I heard your goal this morning. We had a team meeting yesterday morning. Rex and I were sharing a couple goals. Rex had shared a goal that I had shared with him, 5 months ago, and it's a big goal that I have over these next 5 years. And so he shares this goal." And this rep yesterday in my office is like, "Man, I didn't realize you had such a big goal." And he's like, and looking at you, like, I know you want to go hit that. That's not just it's not a flex goal. That's like a goal, like, I mean that. Like, I'm going to go do everything that I can. And it's, whether I hit it or not, that's not up for me. Like, I'm going to do everything I can. And he's like, and I just realized how low I was setting my standards. Like, he was like, I didn't realize that I was thinking so small. And it was a really good conversation of thinking between him and I of like, hey, how do we do big things in life, right? And in sales, for me, the big thing has been trusting the process and enjoying the process, right? Like finding a love for the process and not a love for the money, right? Like I remember out of high school, 6 figures felt like so much. It was like, to go make 6 figures was like, holy cow, that would be a lot, right? Like that would be so cool. And I remember like that first time when that was hit, that benchmark was hit, and it's like, wow, that didn't actually didn't feel like a lot, right? Like it's nowadays in life, like it doesn't really go that far, right? It's like
especially now,
it goes a lot quicker now, and it's only getting worse that way. So, but I just realized that was like this mental barrier for me. But the second that I put the money to the side and just said, okay, let me find an enjoyment for the process. Let me love the process. And that was what that rep yesterday was saying. He's like, man, I love this process. I love the process of being in a home, being with a customer, like finding a creative way to make a solution make sense, and then let the money be the byproduct, right? Like let that stuff work itself out. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's like the trusting of the process has been the biggest thing for me, because the money will lie to you really quick, right? Like, if you associate your worth to what you make or the money, right, you're either going to be thinking that you're better than you are way too quick, or you're going to think that you're worse than you are when you're really not, right? It's going to lie to you either way.
Right.
And so it's like, take the money out of it, go trust the process, go enjoy the process, find a way to enjoy that process, and then all of a sudden the money will be a byproduct. You'll make more than you could have imagined.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, that's huge. So for contractors listening in right now, if they're grinding and chasing the number, it's almost like change your perspective, focus on trying to enjoy the process, figure out a way that you can gamify it or like just enjoy it, right? I see you talking about your sales process, and I can definitely see like the true enjoyment in your eyes.
I love it, man. Like so I was listening to a podcast recently of Ed Milet and Alan Stein, and one of my favorite podcasts ever. I think it's a great North Star of a podcast.
I'm reading his book right now, Power of One.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So Alan Stein, though, he talks about in this, and Ed Milet, they were both talking about this. They say, okay, you have to treat life and your goals and your business and whatever as a GPS. And I think it's a beautiful analogy where it's like you put that destination into the GPS, and then I start driving. That's all I do, right? Like it's like I'm putting that end destination of where I want to go, and I'm not focused on that end destination the rest of the drive. I'm focused on what's the next step.
Right.
Turn right here, turn left here, follow this for 13 miles, whatever, right? And so they said that this, and that's been my approach to this and the process, right? Is I love the big goals. I love going out and saying, okay, Odin, we're gonna do 25 million next year. Let's hit that goal. Let's that is a goal that we have in mind, but I'm not like I'm not necessarily the one that's going to wake up every morning and say 25 mil, 25 mil, 25 mil. I'm the guy that's saying 25 million, that's what we're going to go do. Now what's the next step? Right? And that's what I'm waking up tomorrow to do. Is it's like we're in that GPS stage where it's you're just now following the directions. And that's the process. It's you learn to love the process.
Wow.
And then the end destination will come.
Powerful.